Hey, it's JamiThatsMe here. Welcome back to the channel. I want to talk to you guys more about Stephen Twitch Boss, everything surrounding him. You guys know he did unalive himself about 2 years ago. His wife, Allison Holker, has decided that she is going to be releasing a book about her journey since his passing, as well as, other journal entries that she may have found, okay? During an interview, she did mention that she found a box that was filled with drugs, and she said it was a cornucopia of drugs, and she had to actually do some research to identify what those drugs were. So in her mind, it appears that he could have likely been troubled and could have been self-medicating to get through. Okay. So that's been an issue. A lot of people are believing that she is referring to him being an addict. And then you have people that are saying, well, she didn't say he was an addict. She did not call him an addict. But a lot of people are feeling as though that is something that is being implied when you say that you found a slew of drugs, a cornucopia of drugs, so many that you didn't even know the name of what those drugs were. So some people are taking that as some type of implication that she is saying that he was a heavy drug user. Okay, that is how they are perceiving what it is that Miss Allison has been saying. Okay, she also alluded to him likely being violated in a sexual way as a child. Okay, and so a lot of people have been on her head about that, and a lot of people are just upset. Okay, upset that she would take this opportunity to speak about her journey and to also release his journal entries. Okay, so that has been a huge problem for a lot of his fans, his friends, as well as his family. Okay, I did come to you guys with a video letting you know that his mother did come out and she had some things to say, as well as one of his brothers, and then there's another brother that has also come out to say some more things, which has been really interesting. But aside from that, I want you guys to know that her daughter, okay, Allison's oldest daughter, has also come out to speak in defense of her mother. And I want us to go ahead and actually get into what that daughter had to say, okay? It's a pretty lengthy video, so you guys get comfortable. We are going to get through the video. There may be times that I'm actually going to pause throughout the video to give any commentary that I wish to give. Okay, I just want to give you guys a heads up. Okay, so if you want to watch it in its entirety, you're welcome to go and find it and watch it without any interruptions. But chances are there will be times that I'll be interrupting this to give my 2 cents. Have I listened to it? I have not. I've seen like a snippet, okay, but not in its entirety. So I'll be listening to it with you guys. Okay, so let us go ahead and let us get into this, okay? And actually, before we get into it, I want to say something real quick, okay? A lot of people have been feeling as though this is a black and white situation and black women need to stand down when it comes to the situation at hand because he chose a white woman. And I just don't think it's really all about race, for real, for real. That's just my opinion. And in all honesty, I feel like black women aren't really making much of an uproar in my personal, and maybe that's because some people are seeing a few comments and they feel like a lot of black women are having a lot to say, but I'm like, it's not really going further than the comment section, right? Whereas I've been seeing more white women that are actually closer to the situation, and more white women that are looking at the situation, from an outside lens, that have had way more to say than black women. Okay, so much so that they are actually digging into the background of Miss Allison, okay, and calling her out about different DUIs and things that she may have gotten in her past, as well as a host of other things, alleged cheatings and different stuff like that. So for me, I'm like, I don't know. To me, I don't think it's all about race, in my opinion. And number two, I don't think it's primarily black women that's trying to defend him in any capacity. I see more of the white women that are actually calling out Miss Allison Holker for her actions. And, it's really terrible, that she was interested in releasing this book thinking that she was going to be helping individuals, and her highlighting the fact that she did find drugs, for people to come out and say, oh, you're trying to imply, and these are people close to him, his friends, that are saying, hey, you're trying to imply that he was heavy on the drug abuse, but what about your own? Are you going to be speaking on your own drug abuse in your own book about your life and moving forward? Because they have accused her of using X, Molly, and all kind of other stuff, okay, coke and other things. So it's a lot going on, all right? But you guys let me know, okay? You may feel like this is every bit of a race situation, or whatever the case. Let me know your thoughts and comments. But as I promised you guys, we will get into what his stepdaughter, okay, what Allison's daughter and his stepdaughter had to say. So let's check it out.
Not diminish who he was, but like there's so many new stories, and it's like through all the family stuff and just like it's just so much more complicated, and I don't even know how to explain it well, and I hope that I'm like gonna address everything perfectly, but not diminish who he was, but like there's so many new stories, and it's like through all the family stuff and just like it's just so much more complicated, and I don't even know how to explain it well, and I hope that I'm like gonna address everything perfectly, but it's like, this is my dad. This is not like a joke to me. Mm-hmm. And like for 13 years my parents were together, and for 13 years he was the person I would go to about everything. Like, he's the person I would cry to. He's the person, like, he'd wake me up every morning. We'd get breakfast. He's the person that I would see when he came home from work. We lived in the same four walls. Like, and now I'm getting hate for him leaving. And I don't get it. Like,
now listen, this is a teenager, okay? I think she may be 16, 17 years of age. This is a teenager, so I very well hope nobody is over on her page giving her hate because of the actions of her mother. Now, in all honesty, I do think I feel two ways about this. One, I feel like everybody's feelings are valid when it comes to the passing and the aftermath, all of that. When it comes to Stephen, I feel like everybody's feelings are valid in my personal, okay, as well as hers, okay? I feel like her feelings are valid. However, I do feel like as a teenager, she should not be involved in this. I don't think that she should have had to come down to social media to say anything on the behalf of her mother. I understand kids wanting to defend their parents, but I don't feel like she should have had to. Her mother did release a statement, but this girl is doing a full out video, and I'm wondering if her mom was aware that this is something that she was doing. In addition, it looks like she's on live when she's doing it. So if at any moment Allison wanted to interrupt, I'm sure she could have called her, texted her, and said, hey, I see that you're on live. You need to get off now. Right? But that did not happen. It seems to be a pretty decent amount of time of a live for her to express how she feels. And in some of the clips that I seen, I noticed that she kind of kept looking off to the side. And then one moment she kind of looks up like this. And I'm like, okay, is your mom standing there with you as you're telling your thoughts? Did she feel it? I don't know. I'm not accusing her of anything because I don't know, but I'm asking questions. Did she feel that it was best that everybody hear from you, a child in this situation? Maybe, I don't know, but I thought that was pretty interesting. I mean, but sometimes I'm looking off, okay? I'm not necessarily looking off at a person, right? But there was at one point where she kind of lifts her head, and it makes me think was somebody standing there trying to get her attention of some sort. But either way, what is a fact is that we didn't see the live being interrupted to get her off of it. Okay, so she was able to utilize this time to express her feelings. And although I feel that they are valid, I feel like it's going to bring much more unwanted attention than what she's trying to have, in my opinion, because she said that she's getting the hate. And I'm like, why are y'all on this girl's page giving her hate? Like, she's a kid and all of this. Now, she's a kid, ultimately. Now, you don't have to like what Allison did or how she's operating or whatever the case is, but don't come for the kid, at least. Like, just hold what you got, please, okay? But let's keep going.
It's hurtful. And I guess I'm like trying to describe our relationship because I see people saying that like it's not my place because I'm not his biological daughter, but like he never made me feel like anything besides his daughter.
I believe that.
I mean, that I just think it speaks for who he was, and nobody's sitting up here trying to bash him. Like, he was a good person. And also, recently, I've been getting a lot of comments about how I changed my Instagram username. And I never had access to my social media he was a pretty strict parent, but like a couple months before like I started getting access to it, but I was never adopted. I never had the last name Boss, and I know my siblings do, but I don't. And okay. My last name, my legal last name, isn't even what I like is my handle. It's just my middle name because I don't go by Boss or my last name. So, and I never have, but that was just like we were addressed as the Boss family, like that's what it was, and that like I had that Instagram handle since I was a child, like a toddler, and that's just not me. And so yeah, I can get the hate for changing it. But, like, for instance, like, my mom never had hers as Boss. My mom's always been addressed as Allison Holker. Besides when they were, like, together, it'd be, like, the Mr. and Mrs. Boss. But they had completely separate, like, careers. And they were addressed completely, like, separately. But, yeah, when we were all together, like, I had siblings. We were the Boss family. Like, that's the name that my siblings are going to have. And that's what they're going to carry on. But even Steven's family, like, his parents, they don't have the last name Boss. But, basically, I don't know, I'm trying to, like, get all my ideas together about what's, like, appropriate to say and, like, what's not gonna get me in trouble because, you know, like, I'm just trying to address things, but, like, I'm still trying to be respectful to everybody, and I'm just so over, like, for instance, his family. Like, everyone's headlining right now. Like, and these are big players into my life. This is big players into my siblings' life, but, and my mom's life, and literally, like, these are all people that I've grown up with. And to see them now act different for social media, it's like, I don't know. And I'm trying to be respectful, but I just think it's complicated because I speak to Steven's moms. Like, my mom and her were speaking weekly at some point, and I don't know if it's still like that. Like, me and my mom haven't talked about it, but since Steven died, I feel like I've seen his family more than when he was alive. We would only see them once or twice a year, but you guys have to understand that it's because they live in another state.
So the first thing I want to say is I don't think people are acting out for social media, like they're doing a lot for social media. And maybe some of that could be true because they know that they're getting the attention, but the whole goal is to expose her. But I feel like what really got a lot of this started was the actions of learning that your mother is going to be putting out specific details about him, details that could have remained private, which is how Steven had it before he passed away. And again, you know, he wrote in his journal, it was private, it was things that Allison didn't even know. Okay. People said, why didn't he just take care of the journal before he left? Who's thinking about that? Well, they're about to take themselves out of here. Okay. With that being said, he could have left it for her or whatever the case. She found it. And at the end of the day, it was something that he didn't share with her, originally. And it also was something that she didn't really have to tell us, which kind of ain't none of our business. Okay. But now it's in her possession, and I guess she could do as she chooses, being that she is the wife now. I do think, as the daughter said, that it's a very complicated situation. It's a lot of different levels, and I think that a lot of people feel disrespected after the passing of him. So I don't even know if this is ever going to end. It's probably going to be some back and forth until some real conversations are being had and some real understanding is also coming along with those conversations.
See, like,
oh, another thing was that she kind of said something that was interesting. She says that she has seen Steven's family more now than when he was alive, which is interesting because the stories that's coming out there from his family and friends are the complete opposite. So are you really seeing his family as much now than you did then? Because when it comes to the siblings, right? The brother made a post and said that was his first time seeing his niece and nephew back in November of 2024 since Steven passed away in December of 2022. So that's really interesting. In addition, we're going to get into another video from another post from one of Steven's other brothers that has showed where he has reached out countless of times to Miss Allison, who may have responded to him maybe twice, okay, in an effort of trying to actually see his niece and nephew and actually be there for one of their birthdays or something. So I don't know. And see, when you do things like this, and although you're a child and she's a child and you want to handle situations like very delicately with a kid, at the same time, when you open up the floodgates, it leaves people to pick apart your story and to find out where you may not have all of the right information, or some people may just label you as a liar, and then they're going to try to connect you to your mom even though you're her child, and then they're going to say you're a liar like her mom, and it's a lot. And being that you've been getting some quote unquote backlash and people in your comments saying certain things to you that has led you to do this video, it kind of does not help for you to do the video, because you weren't even saying anything that led to all the commentary you were getting, and now you're here saying something, and it's like, oh my God, you just opened yourself up to a much, much, much wider range of people to attack and come at you. I don't think that was a smart move. I know as a parent myself, I would want my child to stay as clear of that as possible. I would, yeah, just hold what you got for a second, because this ain't what you want for real. Okay. But leave your thoughts below. We don't always agree. We always see things much differently in these situations. And a lot of times it's easier for us to give our opinions on what we think and how we feel situations should be handled when we are not the ones in the situation. Okay.
And things happen. We literally live in another state, and it's not like we're neighbors. It's not like we could just see them whenever we wanted. And now, my mom's constantly making the effort so that the kids are a part of, or not the kids are a part of their, wait, I was about to mess up my words. So the kids are a part of their lives. And my mom's the one making that effort. I don't make the effort, but that's just how I am.
You shouldn't have to make an effort. One, they are not your biological family, so I understand that. And then also, you're not the adult in this situation. And then, in all honesty, it does make one question hey, when did your mom start making the effort? Was that November? Because according to the brother, that is. And I'm glad that she is, okay? Because that lady probably I need some motherfucking help, okay? I need some goddamn, come get these, come get them. Come pick them up. Come get them, please. Thank you. Need some help. All right. So maybe now she's coming around and it's like, you know what? Come on. Come get them. So
I feel disrespected by them, so I'm not going to talk to them.
Okay.
There were points where the brothers would reach out to me, my uncles and Connie, they'd be texting me, but I don't talk to them anymore. I feel completely disrespected. They've gone on social media saying that blood's thicker than whatever, and that's a direct dig at me and my mom. And if you don't,
well, see, that's the thing, love. That is the thing. A lot of people do feel as though when you disrespect their parents, you disrespect them. But also, I do feel that it is important for a child to not take on the beef of their parents. But that is just what I think. And then it also, I guess, depends on the type of disrespect that's being spewed, okay? When they say blood is thicker than water, they're not necessarily directing that at you. I do feel like it may be directed at your mom, but I also feel like you may be internalizing that because you do know that you're not his biological child, right? So it could be that, and that may be why you feel away, okay? But I don't think that those adults in the situation were coming at you because they understand that you are a child and you're a child without control over this entire situation, okay?
don't see me as Steven's daughter, that's cool. That's take it how you want. That I know for a fact that's never how he saw it. And it's literally just hurtful. I've seen Connie, I saw.
And can I also say this too? Where is she getting the thought that they're saying blood is thicker than water and they're referring to you? When they were so accepting of you prior to his passing, typically families like that don't change. Once they've loved you, they've accepted you, recognize that you're not their biological, but they see you as a grandchild just like they've seen anybody else, right? Before his passing, like you said that he was in your life for 13 years. At this point, I'm sure they see you as a niece as well, or whatever the case is. So I'm trying to understand where she could have gotten that mindset, that thought process, that thought that they were targeting you by saying blood isn't thicker than water with you. Your kid. I think she, in my opinion, okay, my opinion is I do think that she may have internalized that.
Connie for like a birthday lunch, and Cameron's seen my siblings a couple times. We've gone brunch with him, and he plays video games with my brother. I know that. I hear them sometimes. But then D, the other brother, they've gone ice cream together. But once again, these are things like that I've slowly started to remove myself from because they don't make me feel comfortable. And my mom's the one making the effort and feeling like it's a need and a necessity to see them because she cares. Mm-hmm. That's like, I don't know, everyone's pushing for this narrative that my mom's not trying or the kids are being withheld from Steven's family. No. No. I've literally seen them more than when Steven was alive. But when I did see them, when Steven was around, like, it was cool. We were a family, like, but it was like we lived in different states. We saw each other for big events, like birthdays and family reunions, gatherings, like stuff like that. And it was, but like now looking back on it, like, it just seems like, I don't know. Everyone's making things such a bigger deal than it actually is. And I just don't like that the narrative is that my mom's a bad person for things that she's actively trying on, but yet they refuse to speak about it. So, what's the point in that? Because I know that they don't see me, but that's my choice. My mom's literally pushing for the kids to be able to see them whenever they can, but you guys lie about it. So, like, I don't get it. Also, with another thing, just going back, I've gotten a lot of hate comments because this is me just a personal thing, but like, I don't have a perm. I just like, I'm sick and tired. Like, I literally, guys, I'm gonna take it as a compliment, but I don't. That's all. But, cause also, Mom, you can get mad at me, but I need everybody to go and look up when she was on Dancing with the Stars, or not Dancing with the Stars, So You Think You Can Dance, and she had curly hair. Now this girl, she gets Brazilian blowouts so her hair's straight, because also you have to understand, we were born in Utah. Mm-hmm. Like, they don't know how to take care of curly hair there, right? So over COVID, when I got all my hair cut off, then it started being healthier because it was fried. But I don't want those hate comments. I'm sorry. Like, dog somebody else for it. But please, I'm sick and tired.
I guess the hate comments from people believing that, I don't know, like this first comment's trying to say she's cosplaying biracial or something. I don't know. I mean, there are white people with curly hair, you know, so maybe that's what she's referring to.
I think that's what most of my comments are, actually, but I'm sick of it. That's it. I'm sick and tired. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Like, what else is there to speak about? I'm thinking. Because with the influx of comments that I'm getting, y'all make me mad. Y'all make me so mad. What else? I can talk about the NDAs because that's a big, y'all love to argue over that. Y'all love to argue about the NDAs. Mm-hmm. Basically, not backstory because, like, that's what the whole story is. But in one day, we had an open casket, like, viewing for Steven. We had a funeral, and then we had a wake. And my mom asked for NDAs to be signed when we were seeing Steven's body. Because God forbid somebody that went to that took a photo of Steven and put it on the internet, or, you know, shared it with somebody else. That's the type of things that NDAs are for. It's not so you can never talk about Steven. You can't ever talk about, you know, you grieving him. You can't post about it. That's not what it is. And for all the people saying it.
Well, see, that's where I have to question. Did you yourself, is what I'm wondering from the young girl, is did you yourself read the NDA to actually know what it entailed, or are you relying on what was told to you of what it was for? Okay, I'm wondering, was the NDA for, hey, you can't take pictures, or was it, hey, you can't take pictures, you can't speak about the funeral, this, that, the other, be after his death, you can't do this, you can't do that. I'm just wondering that. But in all honesty, it's just weird. And even if a person would have released any images of him, then they definitely would have gotten the backlash as they should have. But ultimately, when it comes to his mom, why would his mom take a picture of him and blast it all over social media for the world to see her baby? You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like, I don't think she would do that, but I don't know. I don't know if she would or wouldn't, but it's not a common thing to do for a mother. I mean, the only mother I remember doing that was Emmett Till's mom, but that was because of the way he passed away, and she needed people to see what the people did to her child. But aside from that, this was a decision that Twitch chose to make. So I just don't see the mom signing one based on the daughter's logic of, oh, just to prevent it from being on social media and floating around. That doesn't quite make sense to then have his actual mother have to sign one before she could even see her child. You know, like I would hate for you guys to be in a situation like that and somebody did that to your mother, you know, and so Allison, hey, no, you're gonna have to sign this because you ain't gonna be able to see your daughter until. That's not no, okay. So I do question a lot of things. I don't doubt that this young daughter witnessed a lot of stuff on her own and therefore has formed her own opinion, some of it, but I do think another portion of it has come from what has likely been told to her as well. Okay, so but again, I feel like because I do think she's witnessed a lot and formed her own opinions for whatever reason, I'm not going to say that how she feels is invalid, so I'm just going to ask questions about things.
I just feel like you're uneducated. I'm sorry, but like truly I'm fed up because NDAs.
Well, I don't think that's nice to say people are not educated because of an NDA when NDAs can stand for a lot of things, and it doesn't mean that the NDA is just so you don't post pictures. It could be more to it, which is why some people were upset about it. And it just doesn't necessarily apply or fit in the space of funerals, really, or wakes like that. It's not a common thing, so I could understand people wanting to like raise an eyebrow to it, like, huh, what is this? Okay,
They're so important, and if you guys don't agree, that's cool. I'm grateful for my mom making sure that everybody signed NDAs and she put up that rule. But also, regardless, some people didn't even sign the NDAs. Oh. And my mom was lenient because she understands at the end of the day, like, this is family. So y'all want to disrespect her, and she's still nice, she's still kind, she's still forgiving. Mm-hmm. But you have to know, like, even when Steven was alive, people that attended our events, they would have to sign NDAs. But now, just because it's my mom handing the paper, y'all, like, it's different. You know?
Interesting. So she's saying that her mother, what I'm taking is she was operating in a space that they're used to operating in. When they hang out with other folks, it's not uncommon for celebrities to have people to sign NDAs just to hang out with them. But now when it comes to a funeral, y'all want to step back and be like, what? Why are we having to sign an NDA? What's that about? Okay. So she's thinking she's just doing what's normal. But then honestly, for a lot of people, that's not normal though. Okay. It makes sense when you go into like a party or something like that. And, you know, you don't want to expose anything, but when it comes to like a funeral, like, that's interesting. You know, it's not a common thing, but I feel like now it's about to be a whole lot more common than what we may have expected. Okay,
and it's just annoying. Like, for that whole day was supposed to be beautiful, and instead it was less than that.
Wow.
Like, we were gonna say our goodbyes, and instead people were yelling at each other and bashing my mom, and what? Like, that's a day that's taken away from her, and she can't remember it as being the day that we all wanted it to be because his family was making it otherwise. And like, when I say that this day, like, it's imprinted onto my brain, like, one, because I had to say goodbye to the person that I loved and valued, but then on top of that, I'm having to deal with seeing my mom go through so much. Like, it's a different type of hurt because these are people that we're supposed to love and value, and yet they're constantly doing things that make me see them as like less. Like they're the ones impacting that image, but they're also the ones taking onto social media. So I just don't get it, because my mom's been respectful. My mom's kept her P's and Q's, and I'm just not. This is like built up of 2 years worth of stuff, and like, oh my gosh, literally, oh my gosh.
Y'all ain't tell us y'all was down there scrapping down to that man's funeral like that. Cutting up down there like that. Y'all told us about the NDAs, but y'all ain't tell us y'all was down there cussing that lady out and stuff.
I just can't. But with that whole NDA stuff, y'all can see it however you want to, but I just think it's beyond unnecessary, because an NDA is required. It's a necessity. And it's important, because...
Maybe a necessity. It's not required. It may be a necessity, and it may be important.
It's just, a day like that is so vulnerable. It's so sentimental. And if you guys can't put yourself in the shoes to be somebody that's responsible for not making sure that something like a photo of Steven or those emotional conversations don't get leaked, you just have to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. I just think that's important. And because this is all through a screen, I just feel like people aren't doing that. And, it's beyond me. But who knows? What else? I've also got comments because, how do I explain this? Connie and my mom, very cordial. I don't know. I get that she's always gonna side with her sons and stuff, but she's very nice to my mom. My mom is very nice to her. Like I said, they were talking weekly. My mom sends photos of the kids and what we're doing, and I mean,
Can I say that that's the most important relationship that I care about for real, is the dynamic of his mom with her and the kids, okay? Because, this woman lost her son. Regardless of how it happened, she lost her son. So her next lifeline or next connection to her son are those grandkids. And I don't know a mom that would lose their child and not want to have access to their grandkids. So that's the most important relationship for me that I would want to know about. How is the dynamic between those two? So it is good to hear that they are in a good place. Or were, I don't know, because y'all know tWitch's mom came out and gave her thoughts. And I don't know if she listened to the interview. I don't know if she just heard what was told to her and maybe felt a way about it. But I would hope that she and Allison were able to get on the phone after, said post was made or whatever in defense of Steven, and maybe can sort all of this stuff out or whatnot, okay? For the grandkids. But we'll see, because I do feel like this whole situation of her coming out, telling what she's experienced, telling what she's learned about his journals and what's in his journals, and expose that, I feel like it may have set them back just a little bit. Okay. And I will say this too. With a Twitch writing about a few things that Allison may have mentioned, one, we don't know when he wrote these things, how far back, how long ago they were written, okay? And if he wrote about that, letting Manny tell it, Allison and Twitch had issues in their marriage. So with that happening, I'm sure he wrote about that. So when he talks about issues that y'all may have faced in y'all marriage, will that also be, if he did write that in the journal, will that also be a part of the book as well? Okay, that's just what I'm wondering, okay? And then there's probably why some more blame may be going around, because people, first of all, there's no marriage that's perfect, okay? But people may feel away because of things he may have told them about her, okay? It's just a lot going on. There's so many different, I feel, levels, layers, all of this to the madness. But ultimately, I just hope that the mom and her can work on and maintain a pretty good relationship for those grandkids, okay?
It's just so confusing, because she just doesn't say when things are lies that are on her page, instead she'll be hearting things or stuff like that, which is okay. But a big thing is people claiming, or I don't know where it started, but I'm constantly getting comments being like, your mom didn't let Connie see the body for 3 weeks and something like that. But it's like everybody who wanted to see the body had access to that information. My mom didn't want to. My mom, she stayed out of that. My mom didn't want anything to do because that's a traumatizing thing. And so somebody else had that information to go and see Steven's body from after he died until he was like, you know, like they fixed up how he looked and stuff. But until that point, I remember like conversations being had of like Connie asking about it, but then everybody, literally everybody, being like advising against it because that's your son, you might not want to go see him. But with that all being said, she could have completely on her own terms gone and seen him. My mom wasn't withholding information. That's like, but she's not going to speak out against it. So I don't know. Also, going back to everybody that's like trying to get a headline right now, I guess it's hurtful because y'all were considered Steven's friends, and I'm not trying to be too direct because it's literally a whole conglomerate of people, but I mean, all the posts and stuff and all the like the long captions and whatever, like as his kid, I'm seeing this, like, y'all are throwing direct blows at my mom and trying to make it seem like their relationship was something that it's not. But at the same time, like, you can call yourself Steven's friend, I guess. But, like, not diminish who he was, but, like, there's so many new stories, and it's, like, through all the family stuff and just, like, it's just so much more complicated, and I don't even know how to explain it well, and I hope that I'm, like, gonna address everything perfectly, but it's, like, this is my dad. This is not, like, a joke to me, and, like, for 13 years, my parents were together, and for 13 years, he was the person I would go to about everything. Like, he was the person I would cry to. He's the person, like, he'd wake me up every morning, we'd get breakfast. He's the person that I would see when he came home from work. We lived in the same four walls. Like, and now I'm getting hate for him leaving. And I don't get it. Like, it's hurtful. And I guess I'm, like, trying to describe a relationship because I see people saying that, like, it's not my place because I'm not his biological daughter, but, like, he never made me feel like anything besides his daughter. And, I mean, that, I just think it speaks for who he was, and nobody's sitting up here trying to bash him. Like, he was a good person. And also, recently I've been getting a lot of comments about how I changed my Instagram username, and I never had access to my social media. He was a pretty strict parent, but
okay, so it seems like we're starting over here when it comes to her story. But I did get a chance to check out her page, and she was most definitely getting some hate comments and things from people, like from days ago, where people had some negative things to say to her. Okay. I'm not seeing all of them here, but looking on my phone, I was able to see some that were left like a few days ago, like 3 days ago. I don't know if she may have deleted those or not, but yeah. So we heard quite a bit, of what all this young lady had to say earlier when I was mentioning the video and I was talking about her likely talking to somebody. It seems like she was. Now, whether that person was her mom or not necessarily sure, but she was talking to someone off camera briefly. Someone tells her, I think you should delete this video. Your mom was in the wrong, and it's very clear she's coaching you. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. But this is a bit of what all she had to say. Okay. And we got to get into a good amount of what it is that she had to say. Now, I want to pop back in because the video that we saw was not the full video from her. And I want to get a chance to get the rest of everything out that she has to say, because one, she does go on to talk about Steven's quote unquote so-called friends, but in addition to that, she does kind of tap into one of the managers that was once a manager for his for Steven as well as her mom. So I think she may be covering that here, and I just want us to just check that out as well. So we'll make sure the audio is good on that. And let's finish up with what the daughter had to say.
Blows at my mom and trying to make it seem like their relationship was something that it's not. But at the same time, like, you can call yourself Steven's friend, I guess. But if you knew Steven and my mom's relationship, like, you think that would be okay with him? I don't know. Like, I don't know. A lot of these people are on their high horse, and I genuinely, like, oh my gosh. Literally, like, this is what you guys don't understand, is my mom is so nice when it comes to this social media stuff. Me personally, I'm on a live. I'm talking about it. Like, I'm so annoyed. And, like, you guys can call yourself Steven's friends or say that you were in his life to whatever degree. Me and my mom, like, we lived with him. We saw him every day. And a lot of these people speaking out now weren't even around. Barely. I don't even really remember you. I can't put a name to a face, but I know your name. Like, that's the type of separation we had. Like, that's how.
And see, this right here is the part for me a little bit, because just because you did not see a person around does not mean that they're not friends. You know what I'm saying? There are people that I still talk to every day, right? I have close friends that do not necessarily live in the same state as me, but it doesn't mean that we don't talk often. I can understand if my son is like, well, you guys weren't really around my mom like that for real, but he can't speak to really the conversations or whether we were friends for real or not, because he's not fully privy to that. Right? You can only go off of what you've seen, and you may not have seen her or him near me, but it doesn't mean that we didn't talk often. Right? So I don't know, but I'm saying that to say that he could have confided into them about certain things that she may not know anything about.
Not around you were. And I don't know. It's just so, like, all these people, for what? But it's just, I don't know. Because also, at one point in my life, a lot of these people speaking out, I'd be like, oh, like, that's my uncle, that's my aunt. Now, I don't care.
Wow.
Like, you're weird. Like, I don't speak to any of them anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's just disappointing, honestly, because for them to be like, oh, one, my mom gets called a murderer. They say that she's money hungry. They say that she needs more fame. My mom doesn't, like, that's not how my mom is.
Now, I will say that's rough there, to call the lady a murderer. Okay, now it's one thing to have your speculations or whatever, but to call her that, like, now y'all, and I feel like I see where they get it from, because the people are alleging that it was her pew pew that he used, but to go to say that's what that, and because people are hearing that she hired a defense attorney, I don't know. That's tough. That's tough now. Now that's tough, okay? It's very possible, as they said, he did do this to himself, but I understand people having questions, but about how he passed, but at the same time, we don't know for sure if it had anything to do with her, if she did it. I don't know. Like, that's tough. Okay? Child.
Trust me when I say my mom is good. Like, she doesn't need that. And it's just disappointing, because the people that Steven was truly closest to, the people he held in regards to being his best friends, we talk to every week. The holidays just happened. I've seen all the people that I care about and need to see. So if you weren't seen, it's probably because you're, like, in some ways, like, you don't deserve to have us around. And my mom's made her efforts. She's tried for as long as she could. But this is the kind of turning point where it's like, this stops. Like, it's beyond just, like, trying to maintain a relationship now. It's like, y'all burn bridges. And, literally, it's okay. What else?
But it sounds like the bridges were already burned. If you're saying that if they haven't seen you all, then they don't deserve to be around. It sounds like the bridges were already burned.
I think right now
So
everyone's
that's
bashing my
that.
mom for also, my mom never said that Steven was an addict. Let me say that. Never said that he was an addict. But if y'all want to take
She didn't say that. She did. That's what I was saying earlier. She didn't say that he was an addict. I do feel like it may have been implied, which is why people felt the way when you say you found certain drugs in a closet and, looking, had to look up stuff or whatever the case. So people, I think that's primarily what they're leaning on, the fact that it was implied that he abused. And I think it also came off to me with some of the friends. It's not so much as him using. It was more so like, well, if you're going to tell your story, then tell yours. Why are you telling his? Tell yours, because you're the one that we're using also. It's kind of what I was taking from some of the things people were saying.
Headline for a news article and turn that into being the thing that you're paying attention to most, that's literally on you. Right? But in our house, how he ran things, like, I'm his kid. He was trying to like teach me and educate, like, obviously, like, be that fatherly role, right? So he'd be open and vulnerable about him smoking weed. Also, my mom's not calling him a terrible person for smoking weed. Like, guys, let's get it together. But when you have 2 years after somebody committed suicide to sit here and question every interaction you had, every single thing they did, obviously my mom's like, maybe I should have paid more attention to him smoking a lot of weed. Maybe that was a sign. That's not my mom saying that he's a terrible person. And if people if they're gonna stop being fans of him over my mom saying that he smoked weed, you aren't a fan.
I agree with that.
That's all.
I do agree with that. I mean, doing weed, it's so many people that do. Hell, some of your faves out here doing coke too. Okay? So I don't think that's going to be a deciding factor or anything. That's why for me, it was like, people are mentioning legacy, but is it really about legacy or is it more so just about the privacy of it all? Right? Because I don't think that a lot of what is happening and her speaking on really is ruining a legacy, in my opinion. Maybe ruining some relationships. Okay. But
My mom, like,
yeah.
she's not like, oh my gosh, he's awful, he smoked weed. That's not the narrative. That's not what my mom said. And I don't know. Guys, like, oh my gosh. These were open conversations, but, like, Steven was so ashamed about how much he smoked weed, where he would go and, like, smoke weed behind our pool house. Like, but he would talk about it. So it wasn't something that was, like, a red flag at that time. And even, like, him going on an ayahuasca. Is that how you say it? Ayahuasca? I don't know. But I know that it was a big deal to him because it brought up a lot for him. And I think also another thing that's a big part of Steven's story, and I don't even know if my mom touches on it in her book. Like, I briefly talked to my mom about the book, but I don't know everything, and I haven't read it yet. But a big part of Steven's story that a lot of people don't know is Steven's stepdad committed suicide. And that's something that stayed with him his entire life. Mm-hmm. He would talk about how much it impacted him. And I think it was hurtful when he left because now I'm in the same position that he was in.
Yep.
And my mom and Connie alike, they're widows from suicide. And I just think a little bit of love and grace goes a long way. I know my mom says it, but, like, that's a big thing. And that's, like, a childhood trauma that, take it from me, like, the person that's in the same situation that Steven.
And I have to pause her here again because she goes in and out of saying Steven and Dad. And when I noticed it earlier on, I was like, okay. When she says, like, that's my dad or something like that, and then she'll say, well, Steven, then she could have went and seen Steven. And I say, you know what? she's using his first name because she's still angry. I think she's still upset with him for leaving the way that he did, right? Because one, I don't know how present her real dad was. I don't know if he was or not. Let's say that he wasn't. Who knows? But Steven stepped in and filled that position. So now she may be feeling like fatherless all over again. So I'm like, maybe that's why she's calling him by his first name and wanting to, kind of remove herself a bit. Is that it? And now as she's talking about the passing and how his stepdad passed away and him doing the same thing, I see now for me where her anger may come in at. And it's like, listen, how dare you? Why would you do to me what you had, what happened to you? And you know how that was. Like, why would you do that to me? Why would you do that to your kids? So I see why she may use that name, in and out of Steven versus dad. And it's really, she's angry about
Listen,
it.
it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I have so much empathy for him because of it. But, like, I'm realizing how much he went through and how much, like, it's important to reach out and get your resources and go to therapy. And for years, Steven was doing that. And I don't know really, like, how healed he was in his own journey. But, like, that's a big deal. And, like, I don't know. Suicide's a whole... it's unfortunate. Like, it sucks. But... I mean, also, I just feel like all of this drama is unnecessary because, frankly, at the end of the day, regardless of what's tit for tat back and forth, we're never going to get Steven back. He made a choice, and that's really unfortunate. And, like, I'm going to think about it for the rest of my life, but he committed suicide. And that's something we're never going to be able to bring him back. And to just not, for people to be so disrespectful after his passing, it's like, how do you maintain, like, the balance of loving somebody and then also, like, trying to move forward and, like, be peaceful? Like, it's, like, how you guys see everything isn't what it actually is. And, while I'm talking about people, actually, there's this one person I really don't like. And his name's Nelson Diaz. But
This is
I
the
just
manager.
want to let everybody know the type of people that are on Steven's family side. Like, Nelson, I know you were getting sued for you were getting sued. It was a lawsuit by Steven.
Ooh.
Like, Nelson used to be Steven's and my mom's manager. And, like, literally, the lawsuit never ended. You are getting sued. And yet, you have such a big mouth on social media, and it's...
Wow.
You're getting out of your lane. Like, you are. And a lot of people are. And to be a kid that's such an observer, who was always around, who literally, like, I looked up to Steven. I was... his, like, little sidekick. I listen to everything. I pay attention to everything. And I get that I'm just a kid. Y'all can take that and call me childish or immature in whatever degree you want. But I'm also just, like, I've always been around. I pay attention to everything. I have my own opinions about everything. Literally none of this is navigated by my mom. I've always been raised to be, like, independent. And so when I'm saying that I don't like somebody, I'm saying that I actually don't like you because of the things that you've done to me. So, take that as you want. But, I don't know. I've lost a lot of respect for people.
She says, when I tell you that I don't like you, it's not because of my mom. It's because of the things that you've done to me. So, are you implying that Nelson has done something to you?
And I think that, I don't know. I try to be peaceful, but I know at the end of the day I'm not. But what else is there? Like, I feel like there's, I feel like that's a lot of things that get talked about mostly because I'm not trying to start any fires. I'm not trying to put out more information that there needs to be. But for simply the stuff that keeps going in circles and people keep arguing about and that are literally headlines right now, like, y'all don't know what you're talking about. You really don't. And I don't know. It's unfortunate. Like, literally, on top of losing the person I valued most in my life, I have to sit back and for the rest of my life be known to, how do I explain this? Like, I'm not trying to, like, I'm not a person to sit up here and cry. I'm not one to be here and get emotional. But, like, y'all could not just leave somebody passing away and leave the family alone. Like, oh my gosh, you guys just have to add to it. For what? Like, I don't know. And it's disappointing because, like, if all of you say that you held Steven in such a high regard, like, this is not the type of family dynamic we had. And whatever y'all want to push on social media, like, I'm going to grow up seeing it. Like, my siblings are going to grow up seeing it. And also, they're going to have to form their own opinion of who their dad was. And we only speak about him in such a beautiful light. I loved him. I have nothing negative to say about him besides I think that he made a unfortunate decision. And, like,
She's about to cry.
It's unexplainable, like, but
she's shaking.
I wouldn't want to do that to my siblings. I wouldn't want to let people sit up here and talk about them. Or talk about their dad. Because, bruh, I'm not about to sit here and cry, but don't even play. Because if I cry, I'm going to be so disappointed in myself. But here's the thing. My siblings, they're strong kids. And my mom's raising them to be so strong. Like, I'm already my own person, but I've been this way. They're growing up with one parent. And to see that one parent get torn down, it's crazy. I don't get it. Because my mom is all we have. We have other family. We have other people we can go to. But through this, my mom's been our rock. So just know that that's the type of person you're tearing down, who's been peaceful, who's kept things off of social media. And I don't know. I'm a very protective person at heart. Like, the people I hold close to me, like you're close to me. My siblings, like, that's not a joke. And my brother's getting to the age where he's able to realize things. He's a smart kid. Like, he's going to end up making these choices for himself. And I just don't want, like, social media battles to infringe on how they see their dad or how they see their mom. Because, like, I get that I'm not being attacked at the situation, like, I'm the kid, whatever, but, like, they need their mom. And they already lost one parent. Like, they can't lose another one. And I'm like, I'm not gonna cry. Like, I'm not. But my mom's tried her best. And if y'all don't get that, that's on you. Because she's made all the efforts she could to make sure that Steven was held in a high regard. And articles are coming out now. She has a book coming out. But that's not to ever bash who Steven was. It's literally my mom telling her story. And her story is also still going to continue. Like, nobody's going to stop that. And it's for the sake of, like, also, here's the thing that you guys don't understand. For 2 years, my mom was getting bashed because she's not sitting up here and crying. Like, we don't think that she loves Steven. She's evil. Like, that's the type of things that you guys are saying. And now that she's opening up more and still being very cautious of what she says and still very respectful and being the kind widow, like, she's trying her best. And, like, that's not a lot of things that other people would be able to do. Like, she lost her person. And it's just disappointing to see, like, people's reaction to her actually speaking out about her story. That it still holds Steven in such a high regard, even though he's the person that left. Right? And I don't mean this to, like, to be, like, I don't know.
Heartless, mean.
But we have one parent. They have one parent. And I know that I have a biological dad, but once again, my relationship with Steven is irreplaceable. And that's just how I see it. And I don't know. Because I've tried my best to delete comments and not respond, but it led me to be on a live, so. Ugh, guys. But I think that's it. I don't know how much more there is for me to say because I'm not gonna sit here and go in circles about people that should honestly just be irrelevant in our lives. But I think the disrespect is getting to a point, and, you know, whoever wants to clip this and send it to them, you got it. You go, girl. I don't care. Everything that I've said here, obviously I'm saying it to the public, and that's it. Like, that's my thoughts on them. Like, his family, that's my thoughts on everything that's happening. That's my thoughts on the NDAs. And it's just what it is, because this is my reality, and y'all are seeing it on a screen. And that's unfortunate that you feel like you can put your input in. But to each their own. But I think that's it.
All right. So y'all just heard what Miss Allison's daughter had to say about the overall matter. Okay. Leave your thoughts down below, but there is more that we are going to tap into in just a second here. Okay. Manny Cross, Manny Cross is a person that has been pretty good friends with Twitch for a very long time. He was one of the individuals to call Allison out for using said drugs or whatever, saying that Twitch was planning on leaving her, and he encouraged him to stay, and he regrets that decision. He feels like he and Twitch both married white women that fetishize black men. Okay. So it was a lot going on. So he decided to make this post where he said that he's going to be posting more receipts on
when it comes to
tomorrow.
A little girl, y'all, that's a 16-year-old little girl. Don't talk bad about her. She just trying to defend her mama the best way she can because she just don't know what she don't know. Leave her alone. She is off limits. Let her say what she want to say. That's a 15, 16-year-old little girl. Let her say what she want to say. She don't understand. But tomorrow, yeah, I'm posting some receipts.
So he says, posting receipts tomorrow, by the way. Leave the daughter alone. That's a 16-year-old teenager that's just trying to defend her mom according to her limited understanding. She doesn't know what she doesn't know. She said things that seem to be very dismissive towards his departure. But again, she's a 16-year-old girl. She's off limits. Tomorrow, I'm posting some receipts of our last conversation, which was audio and video. I told Allison to stop. She didn't listen. This woman isn't innocent at all. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. She came after the wrong person, is what he has to say. Okay. So I guess Manny's going to be dropping more when he says tomorrow, depending on the time frame that he's in. At the time, this was 12 hours ago. So I would say maybe about 1 a.m. my time. Maybe he plans on dropping more receipts on today. Okay. Not sure what receipts he would drop, but what I will say is that Twitch's brother, Cam, did come out, and he actually put up a lot of screenshots. Okay. And I believe it's in reference to what Allison is saying in this video. So let us just hear what she's saying here.
Yeah. But I have a 15-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 4-year-old, and we are just in this together, and we rely on each other, and we have really hard conversations, but I do not shy away from those conversations because they need to happen.
Yes, yeah. And it's a part of the process as well, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Communication is key, support is key, but I want my kids to feel like they are seen and they are heard. A lot of times I hear people saying that kids are resilient, and yes, and so can adults.
Yeah.
They still need to feel like they can express themselves fully.
Yeah.
And so I want them to know that they can come to me and talk with me.
Yeah, and sometimes some people might see it as easier to shy away from the conversation, but you're leaning in on the conversation, which is great. You know, I only had a chance.
All right, you guys. So what you're seeing here are a lot of the messages that I didn't necessarily read, but I kind of zoomed in on it a bit. And it's a lot of messages where he's reached out to Allison trying to connect with his niece and nephew. And she hasn't given him a response. There's been like these 2, maybe 3 responses, and one where she says, I don't know what kind of conversation you would want to have. She pretty much said it doesn't seem like the conversation will be rooted in, you know, something being healthy. So I don't know if I would want to have a conversation or something of that sort is what was said. Okay. And I'm actually just trying to go to that page again to make sure that I read it exactly as it was put. So let me make sure here. All right. Yes, she says, I appreciate you reaching out. I hope you are finding ways to heal at this time. I'm not sure what conversation you're wanting to have, but for me, it doesn't seem like it would be coming from a healthy, healing, and loving manner, but I'm sending love. And then in March, not sure of the year though, okay? Happy birthday, sending support and love. She did message him one time. The message was in September when she didn't think that it would be healthy or healing. And then that next year, she told him happy birthday. They've been trying to send like a birthday card and things, I believe, over to the nephew and stuff. So either way, okay, that's what he wanted to highlight. So he says, I do not shy away from those conversations, which is something that she said in that interview. Communication is key. Goes on to say, I've always believed in the importance of open dialogue. Those conversations are vital. As you said, crucial that the children feel visible and acknowledged in every sense. I told you I would address you privately before I did publicly, he says. And now here we are. Despite our efforts, our attempts to engage and indulge in the kids' lives have been consistently overlooked. Okay, so a lot of reaching out. Now, at one point, Allison does respond to him and let him know that she just FaceTimed his mom. So I guess she's been in contact with the mom, which may corroborate some of what the daughter was saying. They have talked weekly when it comes to the mom and stuff. So I'm not sure how often they talk, but the daughter said it would happen weekly, but she's not sure where they are now with things, okay? But Allison does say that in one of the text messages. He also goes on to say these children are not solely yours. They are part of Stephen, cherished by our grandparents as their great-grandchildren and loved equally by both sides of their family. They embody our shared history and culture belonging not only to your family, but to ours as well. This message isn't meant to attack you, but to underscore the necessity of having difficult conversations and facing issues head on. Our attempts to reach out privately have been met with silence, while your public persona flourishes. I advised you yesterday, practice what you preach for the kids to the family. Understand, no matter how much time passes, we will stand 10 toes down, chest out, and head up for Stephen, his lineage, and his legacy. The question remains, do you stand with us? Okay. So it appears as though the brother isn't really coming against her for the things that she's about to put into her book. His issue is more so about having access to his niece and nephew and wanting to actually see the children and don't want them to feel as though Stephen's family has forgotten about them in any shape, or form. Okay, so that's pretty much what's said. And actually the other brother follows up in comments, and he also says the truly disheartening aspect of our situation is the enduring effort we've poured into reaching out, only to be met with selective responses that ignore the broader implications of actions taken. Our attempts to initiating a dialogue seem to vanish into the ether, with essential concerns left unaddressed, as if our voices and the impact of these behaviors on the family dynamic are invisible. What's crucial to underscore here is our unwavering commitment to open communication and finding middle ground. We've remained poised to listen, discuss, and adapt, aiming for a resolution that honors everyone involved. This isn't just about reaching an agreement. It's about nurturing an environment where no voice, especially not those of the innocent children caught in the midst of this, is silenced or disregarded. Okay, he says we advocate for a space where children are not unwitting pawns in adult agreements, but rather cherished connections that reinforce the family bonds, including their relationship with their grandparents. The isolation and division being fostered not only undermine these relationships, but also the fundamental values we wish to instill in the next generation. Our plea is simple. Let's not allow misunderstandings or grievances to cast shadows over our family's future. It's time to embrace open dialogue, devoid of selective hearing, to ensure that the innocence and well-being of the children are preserved above all. Let's work together, not apart, to foster an atmosphere of inclusive understanding and mutual respect for the sake of our family, and most importantly for the children who look to us to learn the meaning of family, unity, and love. My messaging has not changed, is what he's saying. So despite whatever she's doing with her book, the family is at a place where they don't seem to care about that a whole lot, as they care about having access to Stephen's legacy, which are his children, okay? Which are his children. So that's what they want. And we'll see. I don't know. Okay. I don't know if mom coming out making a statement, if the brothers reposting certain things that people are saying is only making them take a further step back or what. But I can guarantee you that it's definitely going to take some time. And who knows, maybe when Allison books drop next month, maybe they might check it out. And they might get a completely different idea than what was being presented out there originally. And they might find some joy in it. They might like the fact that she did it. I don't know. Because none of us really know what's in the book aside from what's being said is in the book. Okay. So we'll have to wait and see how that's going to play out. But definitely wishing everybody much love and hoping that things get better for them over time. Because although this may be something that we all talk about, right? We may talk about it, discuss it, whatever the case is. This is these people's real lives, okay? When it comes to the kids, okay? When it comes to the mama that lost her husband, as well as the mother that lost her son, as well as the siblings that lost a brother, okay? It's their real family and their real lives. So hopefully everybody can figure things out and they can get to a better space beyond this, okay? I just wanted to bring you guys just a little bit an update of what all's been going on regarding Twitch and the family. Allison's daughter coming out to speak her piece and sharing her thoughts and her disappointments about everything that's been taking place online and against her mother. You guys leave your thoughts and comments down below about everything. I'm Jami, that's me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share my videos. Follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at JamiThatsMe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Tell him I preach to the choir. Stand with my feet to the fire. Give all the glory to God. Stand in the midst of these haters, I'm silent, nobody can stop me. Just gotta check in my notification, them numbers hit like it's a proxy. Cashed out at the ATM, and the ATL, they done made a gym.